Everybody has a story, and not all of those stories are clear black and white issues, even when we think they are. We wonder, how did this happen? Or what is that like? Or what happens next? Are you sure you really want to know? This is Ignorance Was Bliss at IWB Podcast.
In case you can't tell by the name, Yikes Murder and Stuff contains themes that are not suited for children. It's also no good for the workplace and probably not your Meemaw and your Papa either. We're going to talk about some grim subject matter, probably make uncomfortable jokes, and we're definitely going to be cursing. But if that's something you're into, then put your headphones on and hop in our nondescript windowless van and come see the puppies. Okay, hi, everybody. Welcome back to Yikes Murder and Stuff.
Okay, stop laughing. I don't know why. Okay.
Oh my God, yeah, I don't know.
It's happening.
We've been sick. We've had some strugs, and I had the flu. Lisa had the flu. My boyfriend's got the flu now. It's a mess.
I'm fine though.
Yeah, Katie is out here being awesome. You should have just done the show for us.
Yes, please.
But anyways,
I could have dealt with my pipes.
But literally, my pipes, metaphorically, were also not great.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, well, my real pipes were frozen.
The metal. Just say metal.
The metal pipes. The metal pipes were frozen.
Because in case you don't know, since Lisa and Jen mention it about once every 15 minutes, they're from Minneapolis, and it's super cold there, and so...
It was negative 55 wind chill yesterday. How about that?
We're in a polar vortex.
Yeah. And even down here in Charlotte, North Kakalaka, it was 21 yesterday morning and this morning.
Oh, geez.
And the difference here is that pretty much everyone but me is now dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're from a northern state, right? So you're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
Like cold weather. Yeah. So.
Ah, yeah, you're from Maine up there, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, well, we're back now. Still a little sick, so I don't sound great, but we're gonna go for it.
We have to do the I'm Jennifer sandwich.
Oh yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
And I'm not even taking that out. That's a bonus for everybody because you might get 2 shows this week. Who knows? So I'm Jennifer Sandwich.
I'm Lisa Sweatshirt.
And I'm Acadia Einstein.
Okay, everybody sounds
We're all
like
here,
we're
ready to
all
play.
Here, all excited. Well, we were doing research on another episode that will be coming up soon about the death list, and we started to look up some people who were on the death list. We started to look up people who were on the death list, and we go off the rails.
Yes.
So
we went off the rails for 5 straight hours because I was like researching everybody. I'm like, oh, did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Like, all the stuff I was learning. It was so much fun.
We ran into this guy, King Hussein of Jordan, and I'm like, ooh, look at this dude.
Yes, that's literally like the first thing you said to me. You're like, hey, Lisa, have you seen how hot King Hussein of Jordan is?
This is the old one, not the current one. I mean, not to disparage the current one. I mean, he's all right.
They're both hot, though. Like
he's not the one getting you guys all dewy. It's the old one.
Yeah.
No, both of them are.
The whole family's pretty good looking.
Yeah, in fact, the second son is the one I'm in love with. Prince Hashim bin Hassan is like my dude.
So gorgeous. Lisa starts doing some rando reading on him and finds out that she stumbles across this story that this king had an affair with a Hollywood starlet that was set up by the CIA, and it could have produced a love child who ended up being a little person and then killed his mother. The end.
So everyone come back next week. That's the end of the story.
Well,
we did it.
We're going to tell you about this story. That was so easy. I'm going to go back to bed now and take my nighttime. All right, well, so we're going to tell you about this story today. So King Hussein of Jordan, is back in the 50s, was the hot king of Jordan country.
I guess he was like smooth, too.
Yeah.
Like he had a good game.
And he had smooth skin on his face. It's just so pretty.
Smooth, velvety voice.
So, and everybody knows, I'm sure, that if you're talking about the Middle East during the 50s, kind of all the way up until sort of, well, I guess now, you have to involve, how the Arab states generally felt about Israel. And at the time, Jordan, like all the other Arab states, were very not in favor of Israel existing whatsoever. However...
Is that right?
Yes.
I don't really know about any of this stuff.
Yeah, essentially, the after World War II, and this could be a whole nother story, but after World War II, they were like, well, now the Jews should have a place to live, and they were like, hey...
We're going to say, hey, here's a place for you to live.
Yes, and nobody that was already there wanted them there, so, like, the day after it became a country, everybody attacked it.
Oh, geez.
Like, literally everybody attacked it. So
they just kind of went in and just, like, carved out a spot and said, here you go, all Jewish people, you're living here now.
That is exactly correct.
And then everybody around them said, no way, we're not having it.
And so what happened is one of the million wars they had was...
I don't know if it's a million wars. I think it's one long ongoing war.
Well, yeah, and that is kind of true. But like there was like the 6 Day War and the 1967 war. Whenever they talk about the 1967 borders, when they're talking about Middle East peace plans, 1967 was the year that Israel went, well, you know what? Fuck all y'all. We're just going to attack and steal these places so that we can keep an eye out for when you guys are coming. But the point for this is. In 1973, King Hussein was in a meeting with Golda Meir, who was the prime minister of Israel at the time. And the thing that was significant about it was there was a big plan in 1973 to have Egypt attack Israel from the south. And Syria would attack from the north. And Israel didn't lose any of the wars, obviously, because Israel is still there. But they were that would have been a tough one. And Hussein met with Meir, and word on the street, and I guess the people know that he kind of warned them.
Yeah.
Warned Israel about what was going to happen. And the reason that is significant... And I think it has to do with, it would probably be bad news if it was officially acknowledged. Israel has never given the readout for that meeting. Like, they've never actually said this is officially what happened during that meeting.
To this day?
To this day.
Yeah, I think, and King Hussein was, like, masterful at, I guess you would call it foreign relations. Like, he was writing lines all over the place, like, sticking himself...
he was like a double agent.
He was really good at it. Like, when I said he had, like, a velvety voice and he had game, it wasn't just with the ladies. Like, he was making such deals that really never put him in a super bad position. And he never was ever looked at as, like, super horrible or super, like, helpful. He just rode that middle line.
Yeah, so he knew what he was doing.
Oh, he sure did. I mean,
all the way around.
He's getting $750K from the U.S. That sounds pretty smart to me.
Right. That was the code name of it. It was No Beef. No Beef was the code name.
Where's the beef?
Hey, we got no beef. We got no beef with you. We're over here squashing beef.
He's squashing beef all over the Middle East.
So the CIA, there were some files that were released last year that said, it was like a redacted memo that said a foreign official was especially desirous of female companionship during his Los Angeles visit, and it was requested that appropriate arrangements be made through a controlled source of the office, the CIA's office, in order to assure a satisfied visit.
Is that operation find a home for the beef?
Right, that's the operation for park your car in the garage. Yeah, so... Well, one of these companions was the starlet, Susan Cabot.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, she was born in Boston. Her name was not Susan Cabot. It was Harriet Shapiro. Mm-hmm. Now, she was gorgeous. Look her up, everybody.
She was so pretty.
So cute. The picture of her and the kittens, oh, my God.
I love that one.
Stunning.
But what was interesting about her is that this is the time period where women were platinum blonde, and she was like a little darker complected, like olive skin with beautiful dark hair.
Marilyn Monroe was kind of popular at the time, I believe.
I don't think she's that hot.
Oh, I thought she was so I thought she
Katia.
was, come on,
What?
man.
Dude.
What?
How do you not think that she's pretty? You probably think King Hussein isn't that good looking either.
I mean, I don't know. I don't. It's just, I mean.
Hey, wait a minute. You thought Marjorie Congdon had a good year.
Oh my God, that's right. You thought Marjorie Congdon might have been a little bit hot, and you're like, Susan Cabot, not great. I don't understand you. You're just a mystery.
You're an enigma.
I need everybody to know that they're in the running.
Well, we're awesome. We're in good shape over here. She kind of started her acting career as like being cast as like kind of island maidens, kind of darker skinned, maybe Samoan or Hawaiian type of roles.
Like native roles.
They would do this, yeah. They would hire like white people to play anybody of any ethnicity. Let's take, for instance, what's the guy's name in Breakfast at Tiffany's, who did the Asian?
Oh, he was the Asian
racist
landlord.
Mickey Rooney. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it was so horrible. But that's what they did back then. It was white people for everything. She started doing things like that, kind of like stereotypical. But then she kind of moved into doing westerns. So like she was in Gunsmoke. She was in Ride Clear of Diablo, Duel at Silver Creek. All these movies I don't know about. But she's most famous for this B movie called The Wasp Woman.
I watched it.
Tell us about it, Lisa.
It's very B. It's kind of like it's one of those things where it's like a cult classic. Like
Is it a real cult classic, or is it just shitty and that's like the equivalent of have a good personality for movies?
I think it's the latter. I think you're right. It's the second one because it's I wanted to really be like, this is a cult classic and I'm going to spread this out to all my friends, but I was like, this really isn't that good.
I really don't want my friends to be pissed at me and kick me.
I
in the
don't want
booth
anyone
next
to
time
know that I watched this.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to think I have terrible taste.
Someone sees you watching, and you're like, it's for work.
That's exactly what I said to my sister. I'm like, I'm watching this. It's for work. Leave it alone. I have to.
I didn't watch it, but apparently it's this woman who...
Well, you're lucky,
works
Jen. You kept 2 hours of your life.
Yeah, you can't get those back.
No.
But it's a good thing because now we know the story. That it's the woman who wants to... she works in New York in this industry where it's fashionable to be young and beautiful forever. And she comes up with this wasp serum that she injects herself with that makes her look younger. And eventually she turns into a wasp and like... wasps people, I guess.
Well, she keeps injecting serum because she wants to be young.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she thinks that this she keeps it over injecting herself with this medication to become younger, but she ends
younger
up
and younger.
But she ends up becoming a wasp.
So then, when did she start over injecting herself with the king?
Whoa. That guy was like in the middle of the movie.
1959 is the answer to that. All right. Well, 1959, actually.
So she was the
segue.
equivalent. I mean, she was like, okay, I've been in some movies, but I was on TV. Like, where would you put her if you were going to compare her to a current day actress, fame-wise? Where would you put her?
I don't know, because I'm not...
Kathy Griffin.
Really? You would put her at Kathy Griffin? She seems relatively extremely famous.
Kathy Griffin?
Yeah, isn't she, like, super-duper famous?
Well, she's... Kathy Griffin is like... She's,
like, who's a B-movie actress?
Maybe Anna Nicole Smith before she got the reality TV show.
Oh, there we go.
Where it's like you're famous and people recognize you. However, you could put a hat on and maybe go to Burger King and no one notices.
Oh, I think Anna Nicole Smith did that a lot.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
well, yeah.
Zing.
Quite a lot.
That's another thing that would be right up Susan's alley because she was kind of a private person.
Yeah.
But she met this guy. The CIA used Howard Hughes's fixer. Howard Hughes's... Is it Hughes's or Hughes?
Hughes.
The possessive of Hughes. Fixer. Robert Mayhew? to put together dates for a quote-unquote foreign head of state.
I just can't believe people have, I mean, you know they have fixers, but it's...
Yeah, what?
But you have a fixer.
I don't have a fixer. I have a, well, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. And
That
I
might
just
be your
sit
wife,
there.
though. She could be your fixer.
Well, yeah, that's one of the. But we fix stuff and then break equal amounts of stuff for each other. So there's always something to do. But now,
Part of the Mastermind Alliance.
right. So now, are you saying that she didn't know this was a setup, or
No, she did. What the story kind of is they approached her, and this Robert Mayhew kind of reached out to her through another person, through a lawyer, and was like, well, there's this guy, he's a dignitary, he's coming into town. I mean, I'm just kind of summing it up. And they're like,
Yeah.
we'd like you to meet him. They actually said to her, we would like you to sleep with him. And she said, no way. I think it was the you have to sleep with him part where she was like, nope. But then she ended up...
Did they show her a picture of him first?
Yeah, well, that's my question, because I'd have been like,
know.
yep.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
No props. Can I put this on Twitter? You know?
This guy's a king? Oh, fuck
Yeah. But she declined at first, but then she ended up, because what the setup was for her to go to a party and accidentally, be introduced to him, so it seems natural.
Oh, sure.
And she ended up going to the party anyways, because it's like you said, it's a king, and there's going to be very important people at this party.
She's got a career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Go network.
Yeah.
so what you're saying is they said, hey, you know what? We're going to try to pimp you out to this king.
Yep.
And so if you bang him, then there's something in it for you. And she's like, I'm not a whore.
Yep.
I'm going to go and do it for free.
Yes.
I don't understand that
Well,
strategy.
you know what? No, here's the strategy, because if she goes there as a free agent, she can cast that net over that whole party. So you could meet an oil man, you can meet Howard Hughes, you can meet all
right,
sorts of
all right.
people who will give you lots of money.
She had an invite, and she went. I would have gone too.
Does that invite get stamped CIA on the back? Oh, like
Yeah, I know, right?
in Lemon, where you have to put it under the
Lemon.
hair dryer and
Hey, stop holding your invite over that candle, lady.
it's from the CIA, I swear.
They hit it off, man. He ended up canceling a visit to an Air Force base the week before to go hang out with her. They became involved in that. They never talked about it in public.
Listen,
Yeah.
I this doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, the official version of the story is woman's asked to. They try to pimp her out to be with the king.
Right.
She says no, not doing it.
I'm not fucking him. No.
But what I am going to do is go to this party where there happens to be a king who's just mingling with people who aren't kings.
Wink. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
these
but
are
that's what I'm
guys. These are guys.
This is the official story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was still plan A, and they just wanted to make it seem like it wasn't plan A. Because I can't imagine people going up and saying, oh, well, yes, hi, I'm Dave. I own a chain of tire stores throughout the Midwest. Hi, I'm a king. I don't think it works that way.
Hello, King.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that you're correct on that. That's the official version that makes her sound less of a prostitute.
It might be a way for her to justify the fact of doing this.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for the money. I actually refused, but then when I talked to him, he was the most charming man I've ever met.
Well,
And fell in love.
That's right. And she beats him at this LA party.
By the way, I'm not mad at her either way.
I
Do what you
stand
gotta
behind
do,
her.
Suze.
Yeah.
No.
You
I mean,
mediocre-looking B-movie
No,
wasp actress.
she's beautiful.
cute, dude.
Beautiful.
She is super cute. So, but she meets the guy. She goes to LA. She's like, you know what? This guy's pretty cool. And she ends up going with the CIA to New York to go meet with him again, later on in the month. So she flies to New York under the guise that she was auditioning for a Broadway show. But she told her friend before she left, she's like, oh, I met this dude, the king. He's like the most charming man I've ever met. And so she really liked him.
She got straight swept off her feet.
Oh, they just really seem to like each other. The media's all over this shit.
Yep.
And they do not want anything to do with this. They're denying it. She's like super private anyways. And so she was just hating it. She didn't want, and she denied it to like everybody that she was dating this guy. He did the same thing. They just completely just did not want it in the press at all. Because as Acadia was talking about earlier during this time, and there was a lot of politics going on, Susan Cabot was Jewish.
Not going to look good.
That ain't going to fly.
No.
That ain't going to fly because the official position was Israel should not exist.
Yep.
Right. He's falling for a Jewish woman as the leader of a Muslim country, of an Arab nation.
Yeah.
But he couldn't marry Cabot, but it is said that they were in love. So here we go. It's 1963. It's a few years after they first met for everybody to think that they weren't seeing each other because she's pregnant.
Oops.
She's pregnant. She has...
I don't know why I find that so funny.
She says Timothy Scott is born on January 27th, 1964. Mm-hmm. So...
Little baby Scott.
Even as their romance, you know, I mean, obviously is still being carried on, Susan quits acting and she kind of disappears from the public eye.
Now, I think this was because of she actually, when I read the story, I think she actually really fell in love with him.
Me too.
And I think
Totally.
she got out of the public eye so that they could keep their romance going in the background where people would, you know, the paparazzi
paparazzi.
aren't following her around as much.
People were talking. They were like, oh, that's King Hussein's son, isn't it? Paternity was never confirmed, but she somehow received $1,500 a month from the keeper of the king's purse.
I want one of those. I want one.
You want a keeper?
I want a keeper of the king's purse.
I would just want the king's purse.
Well, there's that.
Keeper of my purse would have
$1,500 a month. That's a nice little extra. Yeah.
And back then, that was probably, you know, $30,000. I don't know how things.
Yeah, who knows?
No, but
Yeah,
you
like-
remember the CIA's giving him $750,000 a year, so that's part of his purse.
No beef.
And he was sending it right back to the U.S. to his lady friend.
Operation No Beef, but he's given her all of the beef.
A garage to put the car in.
That's right. So
A well-kept garage.
Speaking of cars and garages, she was driving around in Princess Margaret's Bentley. And also, for a woman who's not working in Hollywood or working in acting anymore, she's driving a Mercedes with a personal license plate that says Suze.
So cool.
By the way, and this should like make you even more like what? Technically,
Yeah.
Jordan was at war with Israel from the day after it became a country in 1948 until they signed a peace treaty in 1994.
Oh, jeez.
What?
Oh, my God.
The whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All right. And that they wouldn't have liked this at all.
No.
Be like, I'm sorry, you're doing what?
Yeah.
You're dating who? You're having babies with what?
And we're giving you
Excuse
money,
me?
cuz?
Oh, man. They would have Saddam Husseined him for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but I'm sure that the CIA had to have some kind of angle with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you don't go, hey, we are dedicated to the proposition that Israel needs to exist and stay where it is and not get conquered by everybody. And we're just going to slip you in there and bang the king of one of their mortal enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be, there's something else going
These
on there.
people have strategic thinking minds that are above a level that I can't even... This is all strategy in a big chess game of the world, and
It's
I have a
A-level
hard time grasping it.
society manipulation that's going on. I don't want to talk about the dark government right now, but I'll be down to talk about that at some other point. I would
doing it.
love
Yeah.
to talk about the shadow government. So 1968 rolls around. everybody thinks that Timothy's Hussein's son, and everything. She's like, no, I'm married to this guy from England. He's a lord or whatever. And, but, her good friend's all like, yeah.
He's Lord Chichester.
Yeah. Rocky Toast Bottom. Her friends just like wink, right? So, but like 1968, she meets this dude in her acting class, and 10 days later, she marries him. His name is Michael Roman. And so now the son takes on his name, and his name is now Timothy Scott Roman. Over the time that they're married, and it's funny because after meeting and dating for 10 days, they just get married, and they stay married.
She needed a baby daddy.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She was lonely too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then they ended up getting divorced in 1983, but that's a long time to be married after only meeting for just a couple days.
It
and
worked.
Getting married.
But he was a beard.
For a little while. She started to have some very severe mental health problems, and her mental health declined very rapidly, so rapidly in the documentary that we watched, which was a cheesy... What was that show?
What was that? Like Unsolved Mysteries or something?
Oh, it was like one of those Hollywood mysteries or something from
Don't be knocking Unsolved Mysteries.
No, it's coming back too, so.
Yeah, just no Robert Stack, which is... Michael Roman is like interviewed in this. He said, oh yeah, she's fucking nuts. I couldn't take it. I was out of there. Fuck, she's crazy. She had some super real problems.
It was all the wasp injections.
That's...
I'm 3/4 venom, you son of a bitch.
She's lucky I didn't wasp you. Lisa. There's... Oh, God, we're going to get to that part.
Okay, well save that for later.
I'm super excited because there's things about injecting.
Yep.
Okay, so...
Check it.
Okay, so Susan had, like, retired from Hollywood, right? And obviously. And she's living in this, like, $1 million mansion in Encino. Mm-hmm. And her son at this time is, like, 22 years old. It's like 1986. Mm-hmm. She's by herself. She's super lonely. She's been divorced for a couple of years.
How do you know how lonely she is?
Dude, come on, man.
Is she still getting king money?
I think she is still getting king money, but I don't know. Her son's 22 now, so maybe not. But
the secret's still the secret until the old man dies.
Yeah,
she's got him by the fucking nuts.
Yeah, we didn't see anything about
I couldn't
that.
find any information on that. Mm-mm. I looked and looked, and I couldn't find
it's got to be, though, because that other guy, if you said, hey, listen, you're all right looking, you want to get married? Well, I barely know you. Well, in reality, I just need you to pretend you're this kid's dad, and then you can do whatever you want, because I love somebody else, but I can never tell anybody. Also, you'll get money.
What kind of beard would that be?
I don't know, but it's not. I mean, it's not a
royal beard.
It's the same principle. You know what I mean? And then maybe by the time the 80s rolled around, he's like, yeah, no, now I am officially, the money is not worth it.
I don't think he was dating her this whole time, though. You have to remember, he got married.
No, not the king. Oh. I mean her husband.
Oh, I see. This
Michael
fancy lifestyle isn't worth the... Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, clear.
Right. Because she was having some problems. I mean, she was going out to people and she was just like, don't I look beautiful? And you're like, yeah, you look good. And she's just like, but what? What is it about me that's beautiful? What is it? Is it my eyes? Is it my hair? What do you think? And she's just...
It's a good thing she didn't ask me.
Oh, jeez.
Completely manic.
You'd have been like, you're not.
Look, lady.
Zero.
Do you want these encyclopedias or not?
Here's your vacuum with the 8,000 attachments. Get out of my face.
All the other salesmen said you're rich.
I heard you had stacks of gold.
That's right.
Well, her house is a mess. The cops get called to her house on December 10th, 1986. So the kid opens the door, lets him in. House is fucking filthy. It's like you ever watch Horror?
We know Acadia has, yeah.
You know?
But is it like
man.
Marie Kondo style?
Yeah, she would have ran.
Because the one, like, I love Marie Kondo, and I mean, I love her to death. I talked about in Castle Rock Historical Society. I kind of admitted to Hannah on the podcast that I kind of wanted to kidnap Marie Kondo, and I think that if she ever does get kidnapped, they're going to come looking for me. But she could never handle...
I don't know. You might insult Marie Kondo and tell her she's not pretty.
She's pre-screened. I already saw her. She is pretty. But she wouldn't be able to deal with, you should just do things by type of article they are instead of this and spark joy, where you got some poor crazy fucker hugging a toaster saying, I can fix it! That's never gonna fly.
Oh,
so was
Susan,
it that kind?
I think Susan was collecting.
I definitely think
mentioned
so.
that she had stacks of newspapers that were like 5-6
Yes.
years. I believe she had every single one of them. Like
she had little tiny skyscrapers
Yes,
of
she
newspapers all over her house. Bags of garbage that hadn't been taken out. That was the whole house.
Now, did she have the poop diapers?
Like death and pizza. Who knows? Who knows? She did hang out with Robert with Howard Hughes.
Jars of pee.
Fixer. So maybe she did, but they found her laying face down in the bed. She was just wearing her thin nightgown. So it was like she had just, I don't know, maybe she wore her pajamas all the time. I don't know. I would. But her hair was matted and filled with blood, and there were pieces of bone and tissue all over the place from a head injury. Oh yeah, it looked like she had been repeatedly beaten on the back of the head with something. The walls, the floor, the pillows, bedspread, everything.
Well, did it just fall on her?
And I'll find out. Because the body.
There is a story that we did on Strangeful, way at the beginning, about the Collier brothers. Mm-hmm. They were they had this brownstone in New York City, and they were hoarders. And you should really listen to it because one of them died in the house, and it's a
I think I did.
Fucked up story. That's why I asked if. So now you're going to tell me the rest of it, but yeah.
No, she was
No,
murdered.
I'm not going to. This is yours.
Her hoarding didn't fall on her.
All right. So she wasn't like, oh, you know what? I have an anvil collection, and then it got all wobbly.
No, she didn't have a section in the house marked Acme goods.
Yeah.
Right. When you open the closet door, she just dies. Well, apparently, her son's like, I found her in the bed. And the police arrives, and Timothy's just crying. He's barely coherent. He's just blubbering mess. And they see her that she's beaten with something and been sliced with something. Pretty much Timothy's just like, she was attacked. A guy dressed in here was a ninja's broke in and killed my mom.
So now...
That sounds so believable.
What?
So was
I was just minding my own business,
fuck?
and a ninja just passed by and decided
One
to
thing
break
led to
in
another.
and kill my mom.
So now was...
Right?
Now we know that he was a little person.
Yeah.
But was...
Well, we're just now
He was a
finding
little
out.
person.
Well, I'm sure they figured it out when he came out the door.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as he opened the door,
Hey.
they were just like, "Oh, hey, is
So
your mama
do you
here?"
think that's why he still lived at home?
Well, I think that he was very attached.
No,
to
I
his
think
mother,
his mother
so-
was very attached to him.
Oh,
That's where it gets real weird.
Yeah, this is a really weird relationship. He was born premature. He was born a little person, so he had a medical problem that he didn't produce growth hormones. So they said that he was one of 10,000 patients in the world that were treated with this experimental growth hormone from the 1970,
So it is like the wasp.
1985.
Yeah. There's a lot of
It is
serum
like
in
the
this story.
wasp.
Everybody's injecting serums.
This is a story about a love affair and also random serums, experiments,
Hypodermic needles.
Yes. So he was given this serum made from pituitary glands from hundreds of thousands
Nice.
of human cadavers.
Sounds safe.
So they were taking out this pituitary gland stuff and they were sticking it into him. Now, sales were discontinued of this stuff because the drugs were found to be affected with a virus that caused a disease called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. And it's got symptoms.
Oh, it is
like
mad cow
mad cow
basically.
disease.
For humans. Yeah.
It is. Oh, God.
So, like,
okay.
it's very... Because I was reading about this, too, because they're taking the serum out of the pituitary glands, you'll end up with... The reason why mad cow is around is because you're eating something that's very close to what your body is.
So it's like, you don't be cannibals,
You'll get
people.
mad cow.
I know it's tempting.
And they proved this.
But you'll get mad human
in
disease.
Some tribes that people do show signs of mad cow if there's cannibalism going on. But... So the idea is that,
God.
like, if I were to eat, let's say, your arm, because you want your bionic arm or whatever, I'm going to help you with that. Yeah,
right.
I'm going to eat
Thank
your
you.
arm.
We don't need a pig. We got Lisa.
There you go.
God damn.
Yeah, that's how we do
friendship.
it. If I eat your arm, because whatever bugs, not saying you have bugs in your arm, but if there was disease inside, well, there could be.
You don't know.
There could be.
You don't
And
know.
if I eat like a little scarab out of your arm, and it has a little disease, that disease can live in my body because it has the right type of salts versus moisture versus what it needs to live, temperatures and all this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with my own parasites.
Mad cow's
that you might
parasite
get
that can live in, like, when you're eating something that's like yourself, it obviously can live in that type of environment. So it just transfers into you from the other person. And that's what was happening. I mean, think about it. They're making their serums out of human pituitary glands. So if they weren't processing they must have not have been processing the stuff correctly to the point that gets rid of all the little bugs or all the little viruses that are within the gland, and then you're injecting it into a human body, and that thing just parasite versus host just takes on over, like ugh.
And that makes sense to me.
I don't have a
I'll
clue what I'm talking about, but I sound super confident.
Thank you very much. It sounds awesome. I'm going with that. We're going to call that. What do you think, Katie?
Yeah, because why? I mean, but I don't even think we needed that much science. Because I think if the fucking predicate of your medicine is we're going to dig this thing out of a corpse and blend it and then stick it in you, that's bad.
Yeah. Right. This isn't like a Nutri-Ninja kind of thing here. It's just like, seriously, like, we're going to make smoothies out of this. And you're going to gross.
Are you sure this is going to work?
But
it ain't going to shrink.
Can't get any worse, right? Well, it causes like degeneration of your central nervous system.
I take that back then.
That doesn't sound fun. And loss of coordination and memory, confusion, slurred speech, all kinds of shit. And like, we could do that easy with a bottle of
I'll take that on with some vodka.
But man, we'll just go on a tube.
We don't need pituitary glands.
No, we don't need to do that to have loss of coordination, memory, confusion, and slurred speech. So a teacher was like, one time was just like, if he forgets to take his medicine, the teacher was like, quote, he was virtually unable to add 2-digit numbers. So he's like getting injected with this stuff all the time.
And he's addicted to it.
As a matter of fact, like, one of Susan's friends had said that he had been like taking him like 3 times a day.
I think she was overdosing, just like the wasp. She was like giving him too much.
She got the whole idea from the wasp.
But then you would think the outcome.
She was kind of a goofy,
like she was giving him
lady.
like 3 times the amount. She was injecting him 3 times a day when he needed it only like once. And then there was like a rumor that she was injecting herself with this stuff to, like the wasp, stay younger looking. Mm-hmm. Does the pituitary gland even do that? Does that's not the fountain of youth?
I don't think she was very up on science.
I think it's the pituitary gland does produce growth hormones.
Oh, okay, so that makes sense
when you're
then.
younger.
Yeah. You know why? Because she bought the fucking encyclopedias. That's how she knew it.
Yeah. She got mad when you called her ugly.
That's
and
right.
when you sold her the encyclopedia, she's like,
I'll show that fucker.
And she's like, growth hormone. I'm taking your shots from you, and I'm overdosing you. Why can't everybody just be happy with what they look like? My God.
No, I want to be young forever. And he's still, she's got King's Purse money now, so whatever. So this kid would have only been like 4 feet tall without this hormone, but he'd grown to 5
I don't even know if it's worth it. I have no problem with 4 feet tall people.
It's almost 1.5 feet.
I guess if it's like for yourself and you have like a low, I don't even think she had a low self-esteem for him. He could have maybe independently grown up being just fine. But she...
Think about, though, how she's in
that
Hollywood,
too.
man. You know, it's like
Superficial,
Hollywood
yeah.
is kind of... And she was really short, too.
Well, King Hussein was... Okay. In my quest to find out if he... Because there's nowhere that says whether he's her son. They don't give the exact dates for how long Susan dated Hussein. So I just was looking up out of curiosity. I was like, I wonder how tall King Hussein is. He married a lady named... Who happened to be some sort of actress or model or something. Who's now Queen Noor. And so when I... She's really pretty. He hit...
Yeah.
Super pretty.
She's so pretty.
So when he... there's not a lot of pictures of them standing next to each other.
Like there's one of him, like her sitting and him standing behind
That
her.
is like always, it's either him standing or him sitting, but they're never standing together.
Right.
I found one picture of them standing together, and I was trying, I mean, they don't say Queen Noor is this tall, King Hussein is this tall. So I was just looking at the picture, and I was just guessing, you know, she's like an actress or whatever, so I'm going to guess she's about 5'11", and he's quite a lot shorter than her. So I'm like, so he's probably be about 5'8". You know, no, she's 5'4". I looked it up.
Was it? Oh, she's 5'5". She's 5'5".
And so he's like 5 feet tall, or he was.
Yeah. So.
Or okay.
Yes.
Well, his son is only 5'6".
Yeah. They're these.
The reigning king? No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little. No, not little. I mean, that's a pretty average height, I think, for that area of the world. Like people in South America, like in interior of South America, like Ecuador, people are just shorter by nature. You know, and I think a lot of it is nutrition.
I mean, I don't know what
maybe,
the average height is there.
It's both of them, the King Hussein, handsome king. I'm looking at him right now. He's so handsome. He's a
so
handsome
Stop
older
splooshing.
man.
We
sorry,
need the facts.
Sorry, we can't help it. But I will say this,
okay.
Jen, though, but you don't see a lot of Middle Eastern guys being drafted into the NBA.
No, I guess not. No. But she was short, too. Like,
Just saying.
Susan Cabot was 5'2". She was a little cute little thing, you know?
Yeah,
so they were
but
both two cute little things.
Except at a king.
Maybe.
Yeah, no. But what I'm saying is, I don't think how short. I think that like really tall, like basketball players could still have a little person kid because it's a gene thing. It's not just a, you know, this is the range
I
of
know,
height
but it was
you're
kind
gonna
of
be,
like
right?
a curiosity thing.
Oh,
when
sure,
I looked it
sure.
up. I was just curious.
I was
yeah.
just-
And then I kind of looked up his dad, and then I also looked up his kids. That's how I found his hot son that we thought was murdered too, but he wasn't. They're all fairly short. But that does not mean...
No, just to say that nobody was murdered here except for Susan Cabot. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't your theory, Acadia, that she was murdered by the ninjas?
I can give you my theory if you want.
Let me hear it. I want to hear it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and I mean, I guess the story. Well, maybe tell me what the official story was, and then I'll tell you why it's bullshit.
All right.
Okay.
Well, oh gosh. Okay, so him and his mother had a bad relationship, but basically the story was they got into a fight. He hit her over the head with a barbell. He killed her. It was no ninjas. And he basically was just like, ninjas did it. He was obsessed with ninjas. He had 2 Akitas. You know, he was just all about... He's kind of a man boy because they had this weird relationship. She was like super helicopter mom. And he was just like, mommy, mommy, mommy. He was like Buster from Arrested Development.
She's like,
mother.
probably, yeah, Mother Boy.
Mother Boy. Yeah, they would have been on the cover of Mother Boy magazine. So he did it, and he had some problems. So, but yeah, duh. Okay, he did.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a
he's
man
like
boy.
one of those kids that you breastfeed till they're 14
Oh man, yeah. So
from your pituitary gland.
and they're saying that like his mother was emotionally crippled and making him live in this self-made squalor, and a pediatrician had diagnosed him as being, quote, emotionally immature, somewhat disturbed child who is having difficulty handling the demands of growing up. What? You know, it's just like,
yeah.
Okay, so he had a lot of problems of his own, too. She's taking the drugs. She's giving the drugs. They're living in this completely weirdo, is it interdependency kind of thing?
I feel like they were living... Who is the guy who did Twin Peaks?
David Lynch.
In his world.
Okay. All right.
Like a weirdo, crazy world. I mean,
just like David Lynch making things I don't understand.
I watched a movie. It's something about a highway. I watched a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know. I watch it because Balthazar Getty was in it, and he's super hot. Mm-hmm. And so I mainly do things because of hot guys. But
you know what
I watched the movie, and I'm like, I have no clue what that was about.
Oh, man, that's me in Mulholland Drive. I'll tell you that right now.
Jesus.
So, but so basically, I mean, we don't know exactly what happened, but from what happened with the courts and everything, the trial and stuff, we found Timothy did it, and he was also had mental problems and was kind of in an abusive situation. Because
what makes me mad is if she would have just let him be a little person and been a confident little person, because I watched some interviews with him. He's a little wackadoodle, but it's because of the medication.
Yeah.
If she would have, or whatever he went through, his environment, whatever. Mm-hmm. But he could have had friends. He could have been a productive person. People aren't like, hey, little person, I don't like you.
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't.
She wasn't in a mental state to even do. I mean, she didn't have the mental capacity to do that herself, because she came into this situation with her own insecurities and her own mental illness struggles that she was having. There was really no way without any help that she would be able to even support that kind of.
I think she grew up. She
acceptance.
Was adopted out and fostered out and beaten, and she had a lot of problems.
She had a lot of problems of her own. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Katie, I want to hear what you think.
What do you think?
What? Let me hear your.
On the one, all right. Theory A.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude is living with his mother. He had his fake dad, who knew that he wasn't really his kid. Probably treated him differently. Nothing worked out from the way he wanted. Lived in a big trash house where her mother, like, I don't know, pooped in a scrapbook and then closed it.
Yes.
And the father left. Things got worse. And finally he's like, I'm sick of this shit. I am going to, like, zigzag through the piles of trash, bash my mother in the head, and then completely get caught and tell him it was ninjas. Right?
Right. He probably pretended like he was a ninja with the obstacle course of hoarder trash.
As he's hitting her, he's like, hi-ya!
So
ninjas are quiet, Lisa.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Now, that's a portion of the story. Or you can think of it as, all right, and this was 1986, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we know, because I told you before, technically, Israel and Jordan was still at war.
Yeah.
Oh.
The biggest thing that had happened in the Middle East process at that time was in 1979, Egypt had declared peace, like the whole Camp David Accords. Israel and Egypt, became friends. They stopped saying we're going to kill each other, or basically the Egyptians
people are taking trips to the pyramids.
We're going to stop. Egypt said we'll stop killing you, and that was a big deal. But now the big problem of this whole thing is still that that's Jordan's kid and she was Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
So that could still fuck him up.
Right.
So I think that since the beard left and she started to get a little flaky, that the Jordanians were like, well, we can't have this. So
she's like texting him 14 times a day.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I love
She's
you,
all
right?
like, yeah.
Are you ever coming back?
Except
don't you think I'm pretty?
Except back then it was letters, so everything took like 4 months. So,
she's got a whole thing of pigeons in her backyard. Like,
right. So, Jordan, the king is like, fuck. What are we gonna do?
You can't ghost the bitch because she's still going to send the pigeon. Yeah.
Because he's got back channels to Israel. And who are the toughest, scariest motherfucking actual real-life ninjas in the world?
IDF.
The Mossad.
Oh.
So, they got the Mossad to come to America, kill the mother, frame the son. That takes her off the board, and no one's going to listen to a crazy little person who swears that he's the son of the king of Jordan.
And is obsessed with ninjas and said a ninja killed my mom.
they don't have any DNA back then anyway, so you could never prove it.
Oh, that is true.
We have just solved the world mystery.
So
Yeah,
it was
we
a
just-
political hit job done out of necessity because she couldn't keep her yapper shut and the money wasn't doing it anymore.
Well, there it is.
Huh.
Well,
No.
it's funny because when he testified that his mother had attacked him, and that
In her purple negligee.
yeah, and she like swung the barbell at him, and he said, "I grabbed it. The last thing I remember is trying to push her away, just trying to get out of that room." So he never really said that he even remembered doing it. So actually,
Why was he going into his mom's room while she was wearing a negligee?
I don't know. They just had this weird relationship. Anything goes.
I think, okay, see, I said this
You
to
know?
you guys before. Like, there was one time I knew this is the moment I realized I needed to move out of my dad's house. There's a thing here in Minnesota that we do called meat raffles. We go to bars and buy little,
Christ.
Yeah.
we buy little tickets, and then they spin a wheel, and if your number comes up, you win meat, right? And
Yeah,
it's like a thing we do
that's
all the
awesome.
time. It's so much fun. But
That's what we called going out.
we call them meat
you
raffles.
got meat. You don't win meat and bring it home.
Oh, you get tons of meat too. So like, if you
We
win,
when we went out, we hoped to be the prize.
no, but let's see. Okay, so I went out to meat raffle. I won a whole thing of pork chops, and so I bring them home. My dad happened to be home, whatever. So I'm living with my dad, and I was like, not with my dad. Anyways, so I said, "Do you want me to make you a pork chop since I'm making one for myself?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So I make it, and I had been making vegetables as well. So I make 2 plates, and I go, dinner's done. And he comes in, and I'm like, I'm like, "Do you want a glass of wine with that?" He's like, "Sure." I'm like, doing the wine and stuff. And I'm like, I gotta move. Like, I felt too much like we were going out. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't believe at some point he didn't, it's like when you're walking in your mom's room and she's wearing a negligee, it's that time where you say, I gotta move.
Yeah.
Well, no. All right. If you just live alone with your son, negligee should not be part of your wardrobe.
No!
It should be big granny nightgown.
A moo-moo.
There really is there's a line to be drawn in a certain spot that this is the mother and this is the son, and we have to kind of make sure that relationship boundary does not get crossed in any way. I'm not saying that this happened, that she just wasn't so messed up in the head that she wasn't wearing that negligee for 6 weeks straight. We don't know. That she wasn't just walking around in this negligee like that's her normal life.
I picture
I
it
could-
like she's walking around in the negligee with, those things you put over your eyes so you can sleep, those little sleep masks, like up in her hair, and her hair's all over the place. And like she's carrying around a martini and has a cigarette hanging out of her mouth, and she's like, "Take your injections."
Yeah, I can't.
I
can't.
feel like that's a mommy dearest kind of thing.
I do.
That kid lived in a hellscape, because I bet that as she got worse off, she just started sleeping in tank tops, and then the first thing she did was get up and try to jam fucking corpse serum into him. And no woman can sleep in a tank top without waking up with one titty just going on its own path wherever it wants to go
on its own journey.
Right. So
At her age, especially, yeah.
She's got her
south.
party tit aiming wherever it wants,
Right.
and he's like, "Oh, stop coming in here, half naked, jabbing me with needles."
This is the most. No, this is his normal thing. This is what he thinks. He probably walks outside and goes, "What's wrong with all these people not living in a poop rat pool house?"
Well, you know what? Now, I'll just add one more layer of it.
Okay.
If I was going to say...
There's more.
If I was going to say that, he did it, which I'm not, because I'm still going with the...
You're going with the secret...
With the Mossad.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that time, I'm pretty sure Family Ties was on, and if he started watching Family Ties, there isn't no one-titty injection house full of shit on Family Ties. It was Meredith Baxter Burney and the father guy from Tremors and Michael J. Fox.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he keeps going, this isn't right.
What's the show
Wait,
with Ellen Thicke was out,
What
too?
craziness
Growing
is this?
Pains.
Growing pains. All of them.
He could have assimilated with growing pains. I gotta move.
Yeah, his growing pains were not at all like the TV show.
No.
That's right.
No.
So,
Literally.
at the end of the day, what we find out is if you get pimped out to a king by the CIA, eventually it's going to go bad.
Yeah. Well, I would say, I want to say that his life went okay and, that he came out of this all right. He didn't. He was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. It had a maximum of 4 years in prison. He had already spent 2.5 years in jail waiting for bail. So even the max would have just given him 18 months. But California state law at the time said involuntary manslaughter wouldn't stand in the way of Timothy inheriting his mother's estate. So he still just got a couple years in jail, and then he got out, and then he inherited about $600,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they knew that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
They knew it wasn't his fault, so they set it up so that it didn't look like he just out and out, like, fucking murdered her in her sleep. And
Yeah.
since the United States didn't want there to be more war between Israel and Jordan, because that would fuck everything up, they were like, all right, well, listen, you're going to get this $600,000, just shut up and never be heard from again.
Sure. And you know what? He actually did that. I mean, he did. We don't even know what he looks like except for when at 1986 at the trial, or 89 at the trial.
And that's it.
That's
and
it.
You know what he did? He just said, I'm going to go now. It's like when a one-hit wonder realizes they're a one-hit wonder, and instead of, like, blowing all their money and then having a shitty follow-up, they just go, I'm going to just fucking cash my money and go work at an insurance company.
I'm going to go off the grid for a little bit, because even in the documentary, they interviewed him, and this was like 2000, I believe, was when the documentary came out, the E-Hollywood, whatever, and and he was, black, like everything was dark in the room.
Like silhouetted out?
Yeah.
Except that they were dicks, so it was just like the top of his head because they didn't point the camera down.
Well, and then they like make his voice weird too. They did that voice thing.
So there's, for some reason, he got off on these charges, basically. And you know how often that people have very serious mental defects and end up going to prison for life? And this happens all the time. It happened in the 80s.
Right.
It's been happening forever. He got off easy. I mean, granted,
if he would have
money,
got voluntary manslaughter, if he would have just got straight up manslaughter, things would have been vastly different for him.
Right. So
If it was a setup. This is what I'm telling you.
I like
The fix
where
was
you're
in.
going with this. I love it.
The fix was in because he was innocent. Because they would say, all right, well, if we're going to go in and sneak in and pretend it's like a home invasion, no one would home invade a hoarder's house because they would take one step inside the door and go, there's nothing here I can steal. This is a jar of fingernails. I'm leaving right away.
Like you get overwhelmed. You wouldn't know what to take. Yeah.
Right.
Well, he ended up passing away, I believe, in 2003. We don't know the exact year or if that was even correct, but I think everybody thinks he was in his 40s and he passed away in 2003, and don't know anything else about him. And so this story is still just mired in mystery, although Acadia seems to think that he's got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't seem to think. I just told everybody the answer.
All right. Well, now that we've got...
I think the CIA knows.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely know. And Acadia, I would watch your phone, make sure it doesn't get tapped, because now that the CIA knows,
Tap it.
They know. Yeah.
The only time it rings is either spam or me hoping that it's someone that's going to give me a job.
Okay. So
Nothing in between.
or the CIA is going to come hire Acadia, and he's going to disappear. So, well, on that note, you'd probably make pretty good money doing that, actually. So,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us.
This is
today.
so much better than the last recording. You guys, you don't even realize.
Really was. And also, honestly, there was a technical difficulty that made one of Acadia's tracks dip out. So this is 1,000 times better. We appreciate you being patient with us, and thank you so much. We're going to get this out as soon as possible. A little bit late this week, but we'll be back on track next week. Acadia, do you have anything to plug? I understand we have Women in Horror Month coming up.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff to plug. Number one, for all of you that are binging this as a old episode, you don't know what the fuck she was just talking about. So everything was just going one right after another for you. So just don't worry about it.
Yeah, there's just been a lot of flu and car issues and pipes.
So, second of all, yes, it's Women in Horror Month, so if you go to superficialgallery.com, you're going to see tons and tons of amazing interviews with women in the indie horror scene.
Cool.
We have put our first movie out. The actual Superficial Studios has put out Trophy Room, so you can go watch that for free. It's a horror short written by a woman, and it is dope. And yeah, I guess you can go find Castle Rock Historical Society so that you can hear Hannah Selector and I talk. And there's another thing that I'm not going to mention until later.
Oh, Hannah Selector is super awesome, just like Acadia. So go check that out.
I can't wait.
Lisa, anything to plug?
I just do the Twitter thing.
Yeah, you're doing
So
good on that.
Hit me up on Twitter because I don't have any friends. I started with 10.
You're over
remember?
100 now. You're doing
And
good.
I'm in triple digits.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, I have, like, pretty cool people that, like, talk to me and stuff. I'm having a lot of fun figuring it out.
Super fun. And,
At Sweatshirt Lisa.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, we're also on we're on Instagram. You can search us there. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Yikes Murder. And hit me up. I'm pretty engaging on there, so I'd like to get involved in any random conversation. But please come visit us at Patreon. And if you give us $1 a month, that'd be great. We're trying to make the show better, and we are looking for new mics and looking for an upgrade for our computer. And thank you to Justin over at Obscura True Crime Podcast. Amazing. And also thank you so much, Casey Locke, for being our only 2 Patreon people. Man, do we ever appreciate it. And I hope this is okay. We do have some swag coming. We've ordered it. We just haven't gotten it, received it yet. And what else? Go to iTunes and give us a review if you like us.
And rate us. Yes.
Yes.
We need a 5.
Yeah, 5 stars, please.
Yeah, give us 5 stars. And anyone that goes on the Patreon now, like between now and the next show, I will make a voicemail message for them sounding like a total Maine hick.
No, you could do like, it puts the lotion in the basket, it does what it's told, or it gets the hose again.
Yeah, I could do that. I'll do whatever you want. I don't care.
Katie will come and visit you and creep you out with
Not
digitally.
Digitally visit you. He'll leave
there we
messages
go,
on
yeah.
your, I was going to say answer machine, on your voicemail.
Oh my God, we are back in 1986. So, all right, everybody, thank you again for listening. You guys have been just amazing. The reception has been awesome, and the support is unbelievable. And we will talk to you again soon. And
Yeah, thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.